Hi everyone, I'm Tanya, also known as SheHacksPurple, and from the soon-to-be DevSec station. Today I want to talk about something a bit different than I usually talk about, not about vulnerability classes or a secure coding pattern. I want to talk about the psychology behind why bad code happens in the first place. We often hear people say things like, devs are lazy, or they don't care about security, it's not important to them. But what if I told you that insecure code is not actually usually a result of laziness, a lack of skill, and definitely not malice? What if developers are all actually doing their best, but the way we set them up to work actually encourages insecure code? Yeah, I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about how we can change things so that people can actually make better decisions. Humans do not make decisions like machines do. We're influenced by something called behavioral economics, which is the science of how people actually behave, not what textbooks say, but what they actually do when making decisions under uncertainty, under pressure, or with limited information. In my own experience, both as someone who was a developer for a really long time and as a security practitioner, I've seen millions of lines of code that might have been functional, but they're wildly insecure. Why? I think it's because of how people think and how we make decisions. And so the thesis is behavioral economics can give us a framework for understanding how these decisions are made. And once we understand why developers are writing the bad code, then we can start applying interventions to change their behaviors instead of just blaming people. So you might be asking, where did this idea come from to apply behavioral economics to insecure code? Well, I'm a giant nerd, and anyway, this blog series has grown out of a talk that I developed called Threat Modeling Developer Behavior, the Psychology of Bad Code. It's like threat modeling, but for humans. I'm trying to model behaviors that lead to insecure outcomes and then figuring out how to fix them. Do you want to hear a surprising insight that I had? Turns out we all write bad code sometimes, right? Including me. I've got years of commits that I'm probably not that proud of and I wouldn't want you to look at. And that's because bad decisions are not generally malice. It's that we're actually set up to fail. Now let's talk about known bad developer behaviors. So I did a lot of research for my talk, both in psychology, computer science, and then I kind of took all my own observations and I identified 10 common developer behaviors that tend to lead to insecure code. And the blog posts as we go through the series, they're gonna go through them. They're kind of intuitive once you see them, but they might be invisible to us in the moment when we're doing them. We don't think, oh, I'm gonna do this and then insecure code's gonna happen. So let me give you a few examples. So vibe coding, coding fast but without context, tight deadlines and then taking shortcuts, copying code from forums without any context and just pasting it in, shiny object syndrome, an obsession with using new tech all the time, avoiding doing documentation. So basically I have a list of 10 and it's in the blog post that's listed below. But this matters because these behaviors are predictable, they're not random. And because they're predictable, that means they can be nudged in a better direction. So now, hopefully you're thinking, why do developers do these things? So let's talk about why these behaviors show up. There are underlying cognitive biases at play, mental shortcuts or heuristics as they're called, that help us make decisions faster, but not always better. It's sort of like being on autopilot when you're driving home and you don't even remember how you got there. Some examples that we are going to unpack in the series include confirmation bias. So we see what we expect to see. Availability bias. What's easy in our memory is probably most likely, right? The hot hand fallacy. So success once makes us think, oh, that's always going to work. There's a lot more. We're going to go over about 20 of them. These aren't just psychological ideas. They affect how developers prioritize, estimate, and deliver code under pressure. What can we actually do about all this? That's probably what you want to know. So here is the key shift that I would like to propose. Instead of just telling developers, write better code, Or what if you sucked less? Because I feel like that's a lot of the advice we give, and that is not working. Instead, let's design environments that make secure decisions the easy decision. And that's the essence of a nudge. And we're gonna discuss what a nudge is and all of that in the blog. In the next few videos and blog posts in this series, we're gonna explore 3 intervention ideas that you can apply right away. The first one is designing technical nudges. So things like secure by default templates, inline warnings, built-in instruction. 2, incentive shifts. So rewarding secure practices. So when someone does documentation or testing, or they make sure they have simplicity, we reward them, we cheer them on. And then 3, like the whole thing, cultural change. Because culture scales where willpower fails. Now what's next? In the next blog posts and videos, I'm going to explore all of these ideas in detail, and I'm going to dive into each one of the 10 behaviors that I list in this blog and their corresponding cognitive biases. And most importantly, what you can do today to start changing those outcomes right away. So please stick with me. We're going to turn the psychology behind bad code into practical actions that make developers more effective, confident, and secure. And we're not going to do it by shaming them, but by empowering them. If you like this topic or any of my work, you could hit the subscribe button, you could leave a comment, you could subscribe to my newsletter and do all those things that I'm supposed to tell you to do at the end of the video. Please check out the blog post that's linked below if that's not where you're watching this video from, because there's way more than just this video. I want to hear your thoughts and your experiences with the psychology of bad code and all my wild ideas that I'm going to put in this series. Let's make software development better together, one nudge at a time.